Y'all lucky. I love y'all, and I'm a woman of my words, because I told you in my lunch post that I was going to be posting to dropping a video today, and I left the class and completely forgot about recording the video. And then when I almost got home, I was this close to being home, I realized I did not record my video. So I pulled up to a park that I was driving past on the way to home so I can make my video. Now, the first thing I want to say before I even go through this book is this was my very last class before the class exam. So I'm letting that soak in for a little bit. Yeah, last class, and then I gotta take the state exam, not the state exam, the class exam, and pass. I have no doubts I'm gonna pass, but wow, it actually went by a lot quicker than I thought. It's like I knew it would go by fast, but this really shows you how quickly the days go by, for real. Like, it really shows you that. So yeah, today, what chapters did we even go through today? I didn't make a video yesterday. I know. Yesterday I was literally just running around. Every break that I had, I'm running around doing stuff. I am traveling this week, so tomorrow I'm leaving. I'm traveling. I'm going to Texas for work. So these 2 days that I've had off, I've been prepping to travel. So yeah, yesterday I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, getting things together so that I can be ready for the airport. Okay, so today we went through chapters 16, 17, 18, and 19. And these are the things that he said that we should highlight so that we can pay close attention to. We went over the appraisal concepts and definitions. The one thing he said to pay attention to is the price. What price means. So price is the amount that is actually paid in a real estate transaction, which I feel like is kind of common sense, but you know, common sense is not so common. Investment value. Investment value is the value of a particular property to a particular investment. So an investor investing in a property. Liquidation value. It is the value of a failing business that is not expected to continue. So it's like you take all of the you liquidate all the assets within that business. Market value. The market value of a property is the most probable price at which specified property rights should sell. However, several assumptions are inherent in this definition. So the market value is a value to a typical seller and a typical buyer. Principle of substitution. The principle of substitution recognizes that no one pay more for a property than the amount necessary to acquire an acceptable substitute. So you should not be paying more than necessary, basically. This is chapter 16, by the way. I don't know if I said that. I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that we went through comparable math. That's actually in chapter 16. And I understand how to do it, and I wouldn't be able to show you guys anyways. So, cost depreciation approach is for government buildings. Reproduction cost is the estimated cost to construct at current prices an exact duplicate or replica of the building. So the math for that is the size of the building times dollar per square feet. The cost depreciation approach may be the only approach available to estimate the value of special purpose properties such as schools, churches, and government buildings. Functional obsolescence. Functional obsolescence can be caused by either a deficiency or an over improvement. So, for example, one example of functional obsolescence for over improvement is you paid $50,000 to put a swimming pool in your backyard, where in your area that swimming pool is what's that like appraised at $10,000. If that is the case, you're not getting that extra money. You're not getting $50,000 if it's appraised at $10,000 in your area. So that's one example of functional obsolescence. Okay, so when an appraiser is appraising a property, like the external property, age has to be taken into consideration. And there's two types of ages. There's the actual age of the property, so the property could be 15 years of age, and then there's the effective age of the property. So that means that by the looks of it, it looks 7 years old. So that's something that's important to know. So actual age is the true age of the property, and effective age is the age a property appears to be. And yeah. I think that's it for chapter 16. So so these are the questions on chapter 16 that he said we should pay attention to for the state exam. You have to know what type of value an appraiser most commonly estimates. Answer is market. How is investment value best defined? The value to an individual. What is market value? Market value is the amount that should be paid. How is not that one. Functional obsolescence includes which of the following? An over improvement. Which appraisal approach would be given greater weight when appraising an apartment complex? Income approach. Which appraisal approach is most suitable for estimating the value of a single family property? Sales comparison. What is the basis for the principle of substitution? An informed buyer will pay no more for a property than the cost of acquiring another equally desirable property with the same or equal utility. That's a mouthful. A new airport built in proximity to a residential neighborhood. A new airport built in proximity to a residential neighborhood may cause properties to lose value due to which of the following? External obsolescence. That's interesting. When making adjustments based on the following information, what should be done? Oh, this is a math question. Well, let's do it anyway. When making adjustments based on the following information, what should be done with the 2,000? So here's the comparable price. Comparable sales price is $40,000. Comparable property has a two-car garage. The subject property does not have a garage. The value of the garage is $2,000. So basically it's asking you, what do you do with the $2,000? The answer is, it should be subtracted from the price of the comparable property. That's very simple math. Chapter 17. Let me just check and make sure it's still recording. And we are. Capital gain loss. This is so chapter 17. I don't think I told you what chapter 16 was about, but whatever. Chapter 17 is real estate investment and business opportunity brokerage. First highlight is capital gain loss. A capital gain is an increase in the value of an asset. That's kind of common sense. A capital loss is incurred when there is a decrease in the value of assets, so the opposite. If a property sells for more than the purchase cost, then that is a capital gain. Okay. An illiquid asset. An illiquid asset is one which is not readily sellable due to uncertainty about its value. Okay. Oh God. Static risk. Static risk is a risk that can be offset with insurance, such as fire, flood, robbery, and so on. Mortgage payments, called debt service or annual debt service, are not considered an operating expense. Real estate does not borrow money. People do. I mean, it's like you know that, but yeah. The type and amount of financing is dictated by the needs of the investor, not the property. It would be inappropriate to charge the property for something unrelated to its operations. Okay, this is more math. We talked about depreciation. Tax law currently allows the owners of residential and low-income investment properties to depreciate a portion of their investment over 27.5 years on a straight line basis. I don't know what that means right now, okay? I don't. Right now, I'm more focused on memorizing the information so that I can pass the exams. And then once I start working under a broker, I'll work on really understanding how to put that into practice, how to put everything into real life. But right now it's just like I need to memorize so I can pass the exam. Okay. The appraisal of a profitable business presents a unique challenge. The value of the business is not just the value of any this is liquidation analysis, my bad. When the value of all assets is combined, it creates what is known as going concern value. Okay, chapter 17, practice exam. The questions that we need to know for the state exam. What is the formula to determine the loan to value ratio? The loan is divided by the value. What type of risk is caused by changes in general business conditions? Dynamic. If an investor earns a lower rate of return on invested capital than the rate that is paid on borrowed funds, what type of leverage is indicated? Negative. What is the time period established by the IRS over which non-residential investment real estate can be depreciated? 39 years. Wait, I think that's wrong because I could have sworn I just read 27. Hold on. Hold it. I circled 39 because I'm pretty sure Okay, so this says tax law currently allows the owner of residential and low income. Oh, this is non-resident. That's how they get you. That's literally how they get you. So for non-residential, it's 27.5. For residential and low-income investment properties, it's 27.5. For non-residential, it's 39 years, okay? Which of the following is not considered an operating expense for appraisal or income tax purposes? Annual debt service. I'm just gonna check, make sure we're still recording. Yes, okay. Chapter 18 is about taxes affecting real estate. Highlights. Property tax assessments. The estimate of value that is determined by the country property appraiser is called assessed value. The property owner is notified by mail of the assessment through a true rate and mileage, which is called trim. Protesting the tax assessment. Protest the assessment by requesting an informal conference with the county property appraiser so you can contest it. Exempt properties. Property owned by churches and non-for-profit organizations that are engaged in charitable activities are assessed for tax purposes but receive 100% exemption from payment of property taxes. Something new that I just learned today in this class. When you have a church in your neighborhood or a non-for-profit in your neighborhood, your taxes are going to be more than those who don't have that. Funny enough, my mom's neighborhood has like 4 churches. So her tax for her home is like 4 times as much than a neighborhood, someone in a neighborhood who doesn't have as many churches or any churches at all, or a non-for-profit organization. Like, that's crazy. So because there's a church in the neighborhood and they're exempt from paying taxes, they put the taxes on the people that lives in the neighborhood. And I don't think that's fair, because why would they allow for more than one church to be in a neighborhood? And I asked my instructor that, and the answer he gave me was it's probably different denominations, so that's why. But I still don't think that's fair. Like, that's not fair at all. But anyways, property owned by local, state, and federal governments are immune. So this includes airports, schools, courthouses, military bases, etc. So there are specific individuals who are eligible for additional exemptions when it comes to property tax. If you are a widow or a widower who have not remarried, you get an additional $5,000 in exemption. If you are legally blind, you get an extra $5,000 in exemption. If you are a veteran of the military service with at least 10% military service related disability, $5,000 exemption. Any individual, veteran or not, who is totally and permanently disabled is entitled to 100% exemption from payment of property taxes. When the homestead property is sold, the limitation is removed and the new owner will be assessed at the full taxable value, which I think is such bullshit. That is such bullshit. But what can you really do about that? Special assessments. Special assessments are tax levies that are used to pay for specific public improvements that add value to the property. So like a street, or connecting a property to water or a sewer system, street lighting, things like that. When it comes to paying your taxes, the property taxes are due and payable as of March 31st, and it becomes delinquent April 1st. Tax benefits of home ownership: real estate property tax deductions, mortgage interest deductions, home equity loan interest deduction, and sale of principal residence. All right. Chapter 18 questions. Practice exam. To which organization is real estate tax most important? The local government. What does the county property appraiser determine? Assess value. What discount percentage is given to property owners who pay their real estate tax in November? So yeah, you get a percentage off for your taxes if you pay early. So if you pay in November is the earliest you can pay, and the earlier you pay, the more discount you get, like the higher the percentage. So if you pay in November, you get a 4% discount. Which statement would be correct regarding a single homeowner who sold a principal residence and itemized deductions on their federal income tax return? The answer is up to $250,000 may be included from taxation if the taxpayer had occupied the residence for at least 2 of the past 5 years. All right. Who can appraise property for purposes of taxation? The county property appraiser. How is 10 mils expressed as a decimal? 0.10. Special assessments are used to pay for which of the following? Sidewalks, sewers, and other public improvements that benefits the property owner. According to the Florida's Save Our Homes Act, The assessed value of homestead property cannot be increased in any 1 year by more than which of the following: the lesser of 3% or the CPI. Homeowners who file itemized tax returns are allowed deductions for which of the following items: real estate taxes and mortgage interest. All right, chapter 19, the last chapter of the book. Planning, zoning, and environmental hazards. I actually think this is where I learned about the church thing in the neighborhood. It may have been, but okay. All right. Zoning classifications. So there is residential zoning. Residential zoning is a highlight, so it's something that I need to know for the state exam. Residential zoning is based on density. Another type of zoning is commercial zoning, industrial zoning, agricultural zoning, and special use zoning, which is public use, which means courthouses, schools, parks. You get the picture. All right. Zoning Board of Adjustment. There are variances. Variances just means like an exception. So a request for a variance is not a request to change the use of the property. Instead, it is a request to vary from the specific or literal interpretation of the ordinance. A variance may be granted when the ordinance imposes an undue hardship of an owner. It gives an example, which I'm gonna read. For example, if zoning requires a minimum of 7,500 square feet to obtain a building permit, the owner of a 7,400 square foot lot could apply for and likely receive a variance that allows construction on the smaller lot. All right. Another Board of Adjustment is special exception, but that's not highlighted, so I'm not going to focus on that. Another one is non-conforming use. This is highlighted. A property use that does not conform to current zoning is known as non-conforming. A property's use is legally non-conforming if the use was established prior to implementation of the current ordinance, or zoning change caused a previously conforming use to become a non-conforming use. The owner is allowed to continue the non-conforming use subject to certain limitations. So that means that they're grandfathered in. Building codes. While zoning laws dictate how a property may be used, building codes establish the minimum standards for design and construction of buildings or structures. Planned unit development. So planned unit development, he said the main thing that we need to know is that it's also called cluster zoning, and it includes 0 lot lines. That's it. I think that's it. So let's go over the chapter. Oh, I just realized we didn't do chapter 19 questions. I guess I'll do that on my own a little bit later. I do believe there is an answer sheet in the back, so I will double check myself. But yeah, the next videos I post is probably going to be of me studying, and then right before I go to take my exam, and then after I take my exam, I'm going to let you guys know how that went. I don't know if I told y'all, but I did get my fingerprinting done on Thursday. So on Wednesday, I'm just gonna give it that extra day. On Wednesday, I'm gonna apply for the state to take the state exam, and then I just wait to get approved to take the state exam. And while I'm waiting, of course, I'll be studying, and that's all I have for now. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.